So I'm going to be straightforward on you with this video. This video was made a few months ago and I was supposed to put it up, but when my dad passed, I literally had dropped it and forgot about it and I just found it. So I was getting ready to delete it and I thought, you know what? It may have valuable information for some of you that are trying to grow or growing turmeric and ginger. So I'm going to go ahead and narrate it. And what you're seeing here is me harvesting my turmeric. Now, I ended up with way more turmeric than ginger this year, and some of it I wasn't happy with, so I'm going to do some changes. So I'm going to talk about that because it may help you this coming year or any year. So all those tables are turmeric. Well, you know I started with ginger and turmeric in the front yard. Yep, that's Gary back there. And what is he doing? He's bringing it all to the backyard now that was in the front because he's going to change up the table where I grow it. And this was an opportunity for him to bring it all back here, let me harvest it or do what I'm going to do with it, and then he can get his work done. So as I was going through them, and I only ended up doing some of them, not all of them, I noticed that this year my turmeric didn't grow like it usually grows. Now, normally, you know what? Let me back up for a minute because this is important. Turmeric and ginger can be grown pretty much in the same way. Well-drained soil. In the heat of Southern California, they like morning and early afternoon sun. And they're pot loving. In other words, they love growing in a tight quarter. Pots work best. When you plant it in the ground, it's very hard to find, and sometimes they sprawl and end up with a lot of roots. You want more rhizomes than roots. So container gardening for this is better. Now, see how small this is? I will say, a lot of times I drop in really small pieces, but this was too small. The plant grew really good on the top, but underneath, they were quite small. And I do contribute this not to the soil because I know the soil is rich. I build my own soil with leaves and things from the garden. I do it every year and end up with massive amounts of turmeric. But we had cool summer nights. Normally, we would be 65 and above, and we had nights that were like 50. This is a tropical plant, both of them. And we'll talk about how both of them grow too. Even though they're similar, there is differences. But you know what? I'm grateful for everything I got because it could have been worse. It could have fizzled out and ended up with nothing. And I'm going to show you how to store it and even how to prep a container as well to grow in. So this one's a little better. And as you see, it's kind of a hit and miss on this. Some were better. And I'm cleaning them up now because I'm going to store these. Now, turmeric normally grows down. We should see that. And I'll show you as we go. The leaves, I don't use. Some people do things with it. I don't. I actually compost it, and I'll show you what I do with the leaves after I'm all done. Right now, I'm trimming the bottom because I'm going to go ahead and clean these up. Now, these will be stored for me to eat as well as to grow. So there's one way if you store it, you will never be able to grow it. But if you store it this way, you can grow it as well as eat it. Okay, we got a good one here. See the turmeric on the bottom of the pot? That's a good one. That means it went down the roots and then developed more rhizomes. This is the way turmeric grows. It goes down. You have a tall pot, it will continue to grow more and more turmeric rhizomes on the bottom, the part that you eat. The roots you don't eat, clean them off. Ginger, on the other hand, grows on the surface, very close to the surface, and it grows out. So it's an earthworm. Look at that. I have soil that is alive, and that is my favorite thing. So turmeric grows down, and ginger, think of ginger as a ground cover. It goes wide. So turmeric gets beneficial growing in a taller pot, where ginger, even though they're doing really good in these pots, sometimes can do well in even a dishpan because they spread sideways, but they do need room for their roots as well. Anyways, here I am trimming them off, and we're going to get into a whole lot. You should be able to do anything you want with ginger and turmeric after this video. Now I'm cleaning off the roots, and I'm going to clean off as much of the soil as possible. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to save it to eat it, and if I change my mind, to grow it. That's beautiful. That's the part you want to eat. See the crown on the top? That little piece grew all this. Though it could have been better, that is terrific, and I'm really happy with it because those pieces in there will give me so much more turmeric. And I think changing things up, I'll even get more. See how some is darker and some is that rich orange? I want the rich orange, clean, fresh turmeric, the youngest part, to eat. And I do eat it, just like a carrot, but you can grate it up, put it in soup, stews, whatever way you want to eat it. Now I'm washing it. The reason is you saw the earthworm. My soil is alive. You've got to remember that because this is a key factor for this. With all the critters in there, anything, microbes and everything, I know the soil is living and I don't want it to stay alive right now on my turmeric. So I'm giving it a good wash with a hose. It's not going to be perfect, but it will be okay. And here is what I harvested out of just a few pots. I didn't do them all. I ended up doing only one table, a total up to now. And I'm going to do them as time goes on. See the color difference? It is easier to take in the bright orange ones and just clean them off with a wire brush or toothbrush or whatever and eat them. Where the dark ones have a heavier skin, they're a little older. See that, how clean that looks? They'll be harder to clean. So those I'm going to save for growing, and those light ones I'm going to save for eating. Now, we'll get into storing them, but let's talk about planting them. Remember the leaves I told you just don't toss out? Well, I'm putting the nutrients that's in the leaves back into the pots. It helps with good drainage, and I put the leaves on the bottom. Just shove them in there and then soil. All my living soil is going to go back. So the microbes, the earthworms, everything that's in there is going to feed on those leaves all winter and into early spring. When late spring comes and the nights are warmer, that's what I do. Take a piece of turmeric, lay it on top because they're all prepped already, my pots. Put some soil, wood chips, whatever you've got on the top, and then let it do its thing. Now for storing it, this is strictly for whether you want to eat it or you want to grow it. You dump them in there, you cleaned it off, and you're going to put them in a cheap potting soil you can get at the store. I use Miracle Grow, the yellow bag. Why? Because that soil is dead. I know that there is no earthworms in there. There's no microbes in there. There is nothing in there to eat my turmeric. It will keep it really nice. They won't dry out. If you take turmeric, the ones you see here, all these beautiful pieces, and sit them on the counter, they'll dry out within 2 weeks. They won't even be able to grow. If you get them out quick enough, maybe they will. But I'm taking all this to save. The ones I'm snapping off. Now those, for eating, can be washed up really good. Like I said, you can take a little wire brush or a toothbrush, scrub them up really good, and then pack them in a plastic bag in the freezer and take out as you want them. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, they want to grow, but I want to eat them. So if you want to store them in the freezer, that's fine, but you can never grow them once they've been frozen. Again, tropical plant doesn't want to be ice cold. They're not from an area where they get snow. So the frozen ones you will eat, and that's the way you'll bring them in the house. But I can always come back to this tote, which is an 18-gallon tote with about 2 inches of plain potting soil, not garden soil, plain potting soil. I dump them in there and I cover them. It's too cold for them to grow. These can come in and I can eat this right now, freeze them, or I can store them in this tote. Because this is the only way I'll be able to grow them if I want. Once I freeze them, I can't. That's why you want to keep some stored in a cool, dry place. Now, it is going to be kept outside. Our nights are not that warm. And if it gets too warm for too long, they'll start to grow. I'll open it up one day, and I've done it, and they're all growing. So that is the hint on how to store them, whether it's for growing or eating. And look how beautiful that is. So this is what I do. I go through them, clean them all off. It doesn't matter at this point if I want to drop some of the roots back or whatever in there. So in case there is anything left, because it wasn't scrubbed, it was just hosed off, they'll eat the decaying matter. But if there was earthworms in there and they couldn't find anything to eat, then they could eat my turmeric or my ginger in there. So you can snap them off at that point, the roots, and just drop them in. Now, could I put brassica leaves in there in case there were earthworms? I'm going to say no. Brassica plants tend to attract microbes, so I'm not looking to attract to anything in there that's going to decay the soil. This is strictly for storing over winter and maybe over spring until summer. Sometimes I don't even plant these out until May, until our nights really start to warm up. Now, once I have the turmeric in there, then I'm, going to keep and save, whether it's for eating later on, let's say a week or two down the line, I cover it. I make sure that the potting mix is covered. Remember, this is bagged soil, nothing added to it, no leaves. I'm not trying to bring anything in. I don't want this soil alive. If you cover it, it will stay nice and humid in there just slightly. You still want it dry, but you don't want it dry as a desert. You want it just on the dry side. Now this is ginger. See how it grows on the top? It will spread all along the top. Now when I go ahead and I collect my ginger out, because I've done a little bit of both, I put it in a wire basket just so it's kind of a lazy thing. It's just so I don't have to fish around in the soil, which is ginger and which is turmeric. Though I can see it, it kind of separates it. I could have put anything in there, a box, or just push it over to the side and say turmeric's on one side, ginger's on the other. This works for me. So I'm dropping in some of the ginger, and again, it all has to be covered. If it's exposed to too much air, I mean, in like nature, it would be under the soil in a drier area and waiting for the weather to warm up. You want to keep it covered so it won't dry out. And periodically, there's no holes in this tote at all, I will go and check on it. If it looks too dry, I will just splash in a small amount of tap water, just to make sure it's not completely dry. Because if everything dried out completely, so will your turmeric and ginger. At least this works for me, and I've been doing it for a long time. But what you never want is your ginger and turmeric to be wet and cold. So I hope I've given you ideas on how to grow turmeric and ginger, how to harvest it, what part to keep, what part to eat, and how and when to grow it. And as far as the grocery store, get some organic and try it. It's a hit and miss. If it's been irradiated or treated, it may not grow. You can soak it overnight in water if it looks a little dry. But this is how I started from grocery store turmeric and ginger, and it worked. I'll be planting my turmeric out as soon as the nights are above 60 degrees, and that's what it will look like when they're growing. But right now, that's what it looks like for now, because Gary is taking it all apart. He's building a new footing there for the table so it's stable. And well, I can't wait until the weather warms up. With that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.